Aloha, good morning, Friday. Hope everyone's had a wonderful week. Beautiful weather right now, so much enjoying it. And today I'm happy to welcome back Alex.peach. Welcome, Alex. And Alex is a senior associate of the Office Services Division at Colliers and focusing on leasing for both tenants and landlords. Alex has been with Colliers since 2015. And I just want to say, Alex, you're the best. I refer you all my clients or anyone who actually wants office space, because I know they'll be in good hands and I know you care. So that's why I repeatedly have you on my show here on Friday morning. But with that note, we haven't spoken for a little bit, and I really want to, we just had some office space open up in my building in Kaimuki, and before I knew it, Alex had rented it. And I know we were at a point where we're thinking, oh, well, is it ever going to rent? But Alex, on that note, why don't you give us an update of what's happening with office space right now?
All right. Thank you, Caron. I appreciate those kind words. Always like working with you. And I'm glad, that we were able to get that rented because, it's a little grim out there in the office world. Locally, kind of in the urban core, being the central business district, King, Kapiolani, that area, we're seeing record high vacancy rates. I think island-wide, we are at 14%, which is the highest we've ever been. And then if you look at like from Kalihi through Kapiolani, I mean, it's anywhere from 13% downtown Honolulu. Is at 14.89, and the King Kapiolani area is at 14.95%. So there's a lot of availability out there. And I mean, that is partially due to COVID, people giving up office spaces, some businesses folding, people not knowing what they're going to do, are they going to be fully remote or not. But we also are having a real challenge, especially in office, with construction costs and permitting. Because even if you want to move from one building to another, or build out a new office or expand, we have seen some expansions, but permitting is taking forever, as I think everyone knows. I mean, that's affecting retail as well. And then construction costs are up a ton. I mean, this isn't a true statistic, but I'd almost say 50% over what they used to be, because our general rule of thumb for paint and carpet for an office space was about $10 a square foot. And that's coming in at least at $15 a square foot, if not higher, a lot of the times when we're getting quotes. So it's just making it harder when landlords are already trying to dive, maybe like give lower rents to secure new tenants. And then your construction costs are going up. So it's making everything harder in the office world here.
I know we keep hearing the word inflation, of course, and a lot of times I've been told that it's because we just don't have the materials here, and like things are stopping, us moving ahead, and yet everything's so much more expensive because of that. And so you've got different factors affecting the the leasing market by the sounds of things.
Yeah, and with inflation, actually, we'll probably expect operating expenses at buildings to increase, which means, that's just a budgeted pass through of the landlord's expenses to the tenants. But at a certain point, landlords are going to have to start taking less rent because their operating expenses are going so high, because most tenants are looking at it from, what is my gross monthly rental cost? Not, I'm paying this in base rent and the operating expenses are what they are. They look at the whole picture. So eventually, with inflation, with rising energy costs, which will cause, rising electricity costs, that's going to increase operating expenses of buildings. And I think landlords are going to have to take a little bit less in rent going forward if their CAM's going up. Anybody who's utilizing solar, things like that, will be in a good position, because I think electricity costs are usually about 25% a CAM for an office building.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if you had solar, then you're not going to be as affected by that, and your CAM's probably already looking pretty good. But.
And, I don't know if you can answer this, but if somebody did have a building where, to put solar or PV, on the building is very easy, would you recommend that at this stage with what you're seeing in the, leasing business?
I would. I don't have exact statistics on this, but reach out to a few solar companies. Make sure you go with someone reputable, because I have heard of, if someone's not doing a good job putting the solar on, it can lead to further issues down the road. They install it and it's so low that you can't maintain the roof under it and you get leaks, things like that. Make sure you go with someone really reputable. But I think solar companies are still doing really good deals. I don't know if I can say where, but I know of a shopping mall that got basically their whole roof redone, and they got solar put up, all covered by the solar company. And they have some sort of agreement where they basically like share the savings on it, and they got the whole mall re-roofed and everything. So there's definitely some good deals out there to be done, and it'll help with your operating expenses going forward.
Yeah. And then what are you seeing? You're seeing people going back to work, right now, or what percentage of, a lot of people, of course, were working out of home during the, real lockdown COVID period. What percentage of people do you think are going back to offices right now?
Yeah, locally, I would guess we're probably only at about 30 to 40% of everybody back in the office.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of lately, I mean, we've just been seeing COVID everywhere. So I think a lot of people are still delaying, a full return to the office. Nationally, Colliers actually just did a survey of office occupiers across the board. 43% still haven't set any date for a full return to office. And 77% of these office users polled versus 20% before the pandemic expect to do a shift to like a hybrid office approach, which I think is probably going to be the way of the world going forward. I think people are finding that fully remote doesn't really work. You can't build a culture. If you're a 3-person office and everybody knew each other and gets together, once a week, like outside, maybe they have a happy hour, that's a little different. But for a larger company and trying to onboard people, having fully remote is challenging. You lose the culture, but I think we'll go to that, maybe 3 days in the office, one where everybody's in, and then, 2 days people get to work from home, something like that going forward, which probably will lead to a slight contraction in people's square footage needs. But I don't think it's going to be full doom and gloom like we thought maybe in the middle of COVID, where like nobody was going to need to go to an office ever again. So I do think we'll recover, but it's probably going to be a couple of years down the road until we kind of stabilize.
So have generally speaking, have the office leasing rates gone down for the landlords, the price per square feet, or where are they standing right now?
They're down. I mean, you'll see, I was just having a conversation with someone about that. If you were to look at, say, our Colliers office market report, you'd be like, wow, rates haven't gone down, but we only report the average asking rate. And landlords haven't started lowering what they're asking. They're still saying, if they're saying, hey, we want $1.50 a square foot, they're still putting that out there. But it's like, what deals are actually being done? Yeah, we're seeing rents going down currently. People definitely, if you have a good tenant, you want to try to secure them. So we are seeing rates being done well under asking. Again, especially in the urban core, East Oahu, Central Oahu, Kapolei, those still all remain really strong office markets, actually, and even like maybe saw some growth during COVID, some. And so they're still securing high rents, but the urban core, and I think that goes for most places, you're seeing, rents are definitely coming down.
Well, I was downtown the other day. I was going to the Australian consulate to update my son's passport, and I tell you, I couldn't believe how quiet it was. The people, they're not really full force in downtown right now, right?
No, definitely not full force. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Well, moving forward, I mean, it's 2023. Where do you see the office market being in a year's time?
I think I would like to say in a year we'll see this vacancy rate come down a little. I know there are a couple buildings currently, large office buildings up for sale. And I have heard that some of them, may be being looked at for some sort of conversion to residential, kind of like 1132 Bishop did downtown, that big maroon building at the top of Bishop Street.
Yeah.
And if something like that happens, that's instantly, hundreds of thousands of feet of office space off the market, and all those tenants have to move elsewhere. And that kind of flips the switch immediately. That definitely will not be done by 2023, but I think there'll be a slow recovery, I think, into 2023. We're seeing more activity out there. It's just, again, even with more activity, the headwinds are the construction costs, the permitting delays, and everything like that goes into it.
And I can't help but ask you, they're building that new building in Kaimoki on Cocoa Head Avenue.
Yeah.
Is that going to open up a lot more office space, do you feel, in Kamaki?
Some, I think that they actually, the Omidyar Foundation, my understanding is it's going to be 2 or 3 floors of office space, but they only have 1 floor of 15,000 square feet that they actually need to lease. Otherwise, they're going to be occupying it, or they already have it spoken for by other people. And then the retail on the ground floor, I think they're already bringing back a lot of the tenants that were there, and they have about a 2,500 square foot restaurant space that they're trying to lease. But yeah, it's going to add some additional space to the Kamaki market, again, about 15,000 square feet, which it's already a small market. So that's a decent amount. But I think they'll be able to lease it out. Kamaki has kind of remained a stronghold. People want to be there, and there's a lot of activity. I mean, you see so many new restaurants there right now. It's a great place to be located. So, as you know.
So glad we're situated here in Kamaki. It's so easy getting on the freeway, and we do a lot of real estate in East Oahu, so it works very well for us. And even my agents out in Kapolei, it's easy to get to our office, etc. So I think as the years go by, it'll, Kahala or Kamaki still pretty hot markets, residentially and commercially, probably.
Yep, I would definitely agree. Yeah, both are. There's only so many places you're going to put a new office building, if anywhere. I mean, they probably took up one of the last ones there at on YLI. And so I don't see more office space coming available, and more people are going to want to be there. Yeah,
exactly. Well, we'll be finishing up this morning. So any words of wisdom out there for Alex for, small business owners or people looking to go out there and look for spaces to lease or to buy, any words of wisdom?
My 2 words of wisdom would be plan ahead. Definitely make sure you have enough time. I think we see a lot of people these days, especially like coming out, and it's like they have a month and a half or 2 months to move. And that's just not enough time. So make sure you're planning ahead. And I would always say, try to, link up with a commercial real estate agent and have representation, because they'll definitely be able to help guide you through the process. And it's a lot smoother, and, they have the knowledge. So, and a landlord will typically pay their commission. So it's a free service for you.
Neat. Well, before we end, as you know, we always do Marianne's photos for the week. And today she's sharing it's summertime. So very colorful photography she did this week. We see a lot of course, the kids in sailing class out there opposite Ala Moana. And of course, it's good waves and water sports summer. A lot of people out there enjoying those waves here this summer, and the canoeing, canoe surfing, some of our big South Shore waves. It's, as you know, a week ago, the waves were amazing. And there's some great footage on Instagram from the Outrigger Canoe Club of, huge 25-foot waves, canoe surfing. Unbelievable. And of course, just enjoying some beach time. So I hope everyone's having a lovely summertime. Alex will put your details on this video so people can reach out to you if they do have questions. And again, I really thank you for the service you provide for my company. It's just the best, and it makes me a lot more confident to know what's going on in the commercial world of leasing, especially when you own your own business. Much mahalo for today. Aloha.
Thank you, Caron.
Okay.